My name's Coach Mark Cullen and co-founder and head coach of LP Endurance. LP Endurance started in 2021 in March, so we're just coming up on about 3 years now. I think initially it was just to get like a group of individuals together in the KW region. I had always found that there was not really a tight-knit community of triathletes, especially in KW, so always wanted to kind of have a thing of my own to bring those people together. And yeah, it's gone far beyond what I could have imagined, having athletes all over Canada and such a massive group in Kitchener-Waterloo, just crushing performances that I never thought would be possible as well. Yeah, I think in terms of the club, I think we were very narrow focused on the KW people specifically, but I think we've realized that with the reach that we have in this day and age with so many things like Discord, Zoom, Zwift, our awesome Facebook group, that we can be so well connected as a group, even though people are on different time zones or all the way across Canada. So I think the vision's just really changed there, but I think we always had that kind of performance and community mindset that has been there since the start. It's just started to resonate with more people across Canada and now into the US as well. LP has essentially triathletes, runners, and cyclists within the club. We started out probably about 25 members was the initial kind of group, and we're about 4 times that now over the last couple of years. So grown substantially there. I would say almost all of them were in Kitchener-Waterloo to start. I had a couple athletes I was maybe coaching in kind of Toronto area that had joined on, but I would say at that point we were probably 90 to 95% locally here in Kitchener-Waterloo. At this point, yeah, we've grown by about 4 times that, and I would say we're probably 60% local here in KW, and then another 40%, some big groups in Toronto area, London, Ottawa, a couple out in the West Coast, and then we've started to trickle a few in the US, kind of in Illinois. We have a strong athlete down there and hoping to continue that expansion into the US and more areas of Canada. I think for a long time we naturally attracted the kind of mid to upper level sort of age groupers, but more and more we started to get sort of those entry level runners and triathletes who have maybe done sports in the past and are kind of looking for that new lease on an athletic life, so they'll come and join us. And then many people who have done no sports growing up and have no sporting background or endurance background and have found this as a cool outlet to do something for themselves and like inspire their friends and family to be more active and to be able to live a healthy, active life. So I would say we've definitely done a much better job in the last year or so to get those sort of entry level up to mid athletes, but I would still say the core of our club is going to be that mid to upper level sort of performance, just because that's where a lot of the mindset of our top coaches are. So we naturally will kind of attract those people that kind of want to take that path that we're on as well. Yeah, I always say it's nice to at least get a couple, like if you're calling it like a triathlete, like you can technically start from scratch. It always helps to sort of get a little bit of consistency under your belt, whether it's like a couple weeks of just like getting in the pool, get a couple walk runs under your belt, make sure that you have a bike that you can ride that's working. But for the most part, like we provide all the structured training right from scratch. So there's no requirement for anybody to have any past there, and we can give them that bridge program to kind of get that consistency under their belt to eventually be able to kind of attend some of the group workouts that typically are a little bit longer in length. So some of our wins, most of our runs would be, you need to run up to kind of 5 or 6K, be able to bike up to call it 45 minutes and be able to swim a couple lengths of the pool without having to stop too much. But we give you all the tools that you need to get started on that path. Yeah, so my coaching background, I was a competitive hockey, soccer player growing up, and I was always that kid that loved to like do the pre-planning or like break down essentially games after they happen. And I would be watching hockey and was always like analyzing what was going on. So I feel like I always had that coaching mindset. So naturally, as I got into endurance sports, I was the person that just loved the deep learning of those type of things, which naturally, when people then start to get into it, you're kind of that expert they go to when your friends are starting to pick it up. So that was kind of my initial part, was just like combing the internet to find out information on there. And still, there's not so many official triathlon coaching pieces. Like I've taken the NCCP, like National Triathlon sort of coaching course and stuff like that. But the cool thing about triathlon coaching is there isn't this like one central hub for coaching. And it's really how much do you want to invest in courses, podcasts, and just talking to other coaches that are successful. So I feel like I've developed so much knowledge over the last couple of years just through those key areas. Plus our podcast that we run where you're talking to experts and athletes, you pick up so much on different, both the art and science of coaching. So I would say those two areas, I'm like so much further ahead than I even was, call it 2 years ago, in an area got to continue to grow in. Yeah, the things I love most about coaching at LP, I would say come down to both performance and the community side of things. So performance has a huge umbrella under it. I just love that these people that come to our club, we definitely attract a certain individual that's crushing it in family life, their work life, but also like has big performance goals as well. So I just love that all these people share this mindset and are helping themselves push towards performance, but also like help each other problem solve because we're all going through different stresses in our life and how can we kind of navigate those along the way. And I think I just love within that performance that people are such like deep learners in our clubs. Like we just nerd out on so many topics across all facets of endurance, whether it's the training itself to nutrition, to strength, to recovery. People just love the learning. And the second thing I really love is just the community part of it is you just have like genuinely good people in the club that like care about each other and are invested in each other's success. And like the training is just so much more fun and so much easier when you have a group of individuals to do it with every time. So it just, it makes it's so much more sustainable when you want to show up to every workout because you know you have a group of friends there. It doesn't feel like this slog or this drag. And some days it may, but most of the time you have those individuals to make it fun and you want to keep showing up for years to come. Ooh, it was definitely a huge year. I think one of the big things is our LP ladies continued to just show that they are like dominating on both the local and international stage. So if you think about three huge Ironman wins from Jess Turnick in Western Massachusetts, Allison Jacob winning overall at Ironman Texas, and then Jess Cullen winning at Ironman Mont Tremblant. And then you think of somebody like Angela Lilly, who just dominated the like local scene, winning I think 3 or 4 times overall at some of the local races. So those were some big ones that jumped out at me. But we had a couple really huge club events across running. So we started the year at the Chile Half Marathon, where we just saw all that hard work people put in the winter and came out with loads and loads of PBs in the very first race of the season. Another huge running race for us was the TCS Toronto Half Marathon, where I think literally everybody that showed up that day got a new personal best on the day. So it just showed all that consistency and hard work they put in the year really paying off in the back part of the year too. 2 other sort of triathlon ones that were really exciting is the first time we've had a group go to the Ironman World Championship in Kona. And that was just so exciting to see those 6 ladies, the hard work they put into that to go into such a tough course with oppressive heat and crazy non-wetsuit swim and just like do so awesome out there, and just getting to soak in that experience in like the mecca of triathlon was very cool. And I think a shining light we got to put on is the LP boys showed up this year, especially if you think about a race like Tremblant that had the Ironman in 70.3. We scored a bunch of podiums that day. The guys really showed up at that one. And then Maryland, where we had an all-guys team go down, and with only 6 of us land on the tri-club podium at that one. So it's cool. The LP ladies were paving the way for many years, but the boys are catching up and are poised for a big 2024 as well. So lots of highlights in short. Yeah, I think to think of the things that really caused these amazing performances in 2023, I think I first need to take it back to 2022 is just like the people that paved the way and showed what was possible, whether it was like Jess, who won Ironman Canada, just showing like a bunch of the ladies like, hey, she's on the same like training program that we are and has the same supports and she works a 60-hour work week. Like, why can't we do this? And I think they just use their collective brains together to problem solve those issues in life that were maybe holding them back from performance gains. And yeah, those ladies just unlocked so many huge performances, and the men as well. So I think that was a huge one. I think people continuing to invest in all the pieces around training is they're obviously, you have to do the work. That's the prerequisite to get there. But people are really realizing that when we look at this entire performance ecosystem across the recovery, sleep, and nutrition, that you just expedite your training gains like massively. So the fact that people love the educational stuff so much, they continue to invest in that, and it's paying off in droves for them in terms of their results. So I think those are two of the main ones, is just they're willing to do the work and get the education and are inspired by the people around them of what's possible. Like, nobody's really that incredibly special naturally in this. It's just endurance is so amazing because it's all the hard work you put into it is what you get out of it. So that's one of the purest cool things about endurance. Yeah, 2024 is going to be a very exciting year. So for coaching, like myself and Cullen, we're going to continue to work with our awesome team around LP to continue to invest in more ways that we can continue to up our game in terms of the education we have. For the club itself, we have a huge year of racing planning, of races planned, but a lot of big races across both triathlon and running. So big things in store there. But I think some of the coolest stuff is the internal stuff we're doing within the club. So a couple things where we're like bringing a bunch of our remote athletes into town for our KW training camp that we're going to have in June. That's going to have a huge weekend of swimming, biking, running, educational stuff, just awesome chances to hang out with people and connect and learn. And then we're going to add in some big mega days in the year where people can come down for a single day of, again, swim, bike, run, some great food, just some educational topics, and some chances to hang out with people and forge some awesome fitness while doing it. So I think those mega days are going to be really exciting. And yeah, we're just continuing to double down on the awesome like education stuff, from everything around training to aerodynamics to nutrition, you name it. We're going to get all the key experts we need to make sure that every piece of the performance puzzle is covered, so that people can just continue to, all this work they've put in the past couple of years is just going to continue to compound into more massive results every year. Yeah, so next year, in terms of our pro roster, we're looking at for next year. So Jess Turnick, who already announced hers on Instagram there, but we also have that in my mind are no-brainers to make that jump. They've both won Ironmans overall, continued to win their age group at multiple races, and when you look at pro results from last year, would fit right into the middle of the pro field right away. And I think both of them with some cool opportunities next year, all three of them, in terms of they're optimizing their lifestyle to be able to get the most out of their training and recovery, are going to continue to see massive gains. And I'm just really excited to see themselves taking such a huge step and putting themselves out there going. It's not easy to go from being the top dog in every single race to throwing yourself in the fire with some of the best athletes in the world. So just super proud of them for taking a big risk, and I think it's going to be exciting to continue to learn alongside them of how they can continue to be more competitive in the pro field. So it's going to be an exciting 2024. I think the one piece of advice I would give to athletes is continue to double down on the things outside of training in terms of their sleep, their recovery, their mindset, their stress, because you send so many signals out when you put all this work in and all this training, but you can only get the maximal amount of absorption from that signal if you put in the work outside of the training. So that's getting your 8 hours of sleep a night wherever possible, eating enough, fueling your workouts, eating the right things, mitigating stress as much as possible, doing your mobility and strength work. I think if people treat those as equal parts of the performance puzzle versus just showing up and then not thinking about training the rest of the time, that they're going to be so much further along in their journey. So that would be my one piece of advice.